In this segment, I'm going to explain why the surrendering technique works. What are the underlying principles, spiritual principles, that make the surrendering technique effective? The first principle is free will. Free will is a fiction. It's a fiction because this little self that is supposed to be here and is supposed to have free will is not here and can never be found, so it's not real. Therefore, the free will principle is a fiction. And the little self that is supposed to make decisions here and be responsible for those decisions doesn't exist either. However, the interesting thing is that in the movie, in duality, this little self, fictional self, has the power to control the evolution of the mind-body organism towards liberation or enlightenment. It can obstruct it or it can accelerate it by being willing to let go of the issues that are here, or be unwilling and hold to them. So, the principle of free will operates in a way that allows your ego to control how much progress you make in each incarnation. And the ego has the freedom to retain and hold to grudges and negative emotions of all kind and many other mental objects, or to let go. So the surrendering technique is designed to help the ego to let go instead of holding. You would be surprised how many people want to hold to their suffering, their negative emotions, their grudges, their resentments. We all have gone through that anyway. But if you're smart, you will let go. Because at that moment, when you choose to let go, you are choosing happiness over suffering. The second principle that operates here is kind of similar, but slightly different, and it's called sincerity. In order for the technique to work, when you say the words, the template of the technique, there has to be behind the words sincerity, real sincerity of wanting to let go. That sincerity may be very easy to attain or maybe more challenging. And if it's more challenging because the issue is heavy, then I would recommend to use the surrendering technique several times on the same issue, over and over until the result comes. The result will come when you attain true sincerity, and the technique will help you to reach that sincerity. The more you say the words and you practice the technique, the greater is the sincerity that you will reach in wanting to let go. So the technique retrofits itself. Another aspect of the technique that is quite interesting, in fact, is that it doesn't require on your part to do any deep introspection and have very powerful introspective abilities. Anyone can practice this technique regardless of their powers of introspection. Some people are very good at introspecting and looking deep into their issues and being able to see what's underneath this and underneath and underneath. Other people don't. So they don't have that skill. However, this works for both because the only thing you need to surrender with the surrendering technique is the negative emotion. So you just need to be aware when there is a negative emotion bothering you, give it a name and surrender it with the surrendering technique. It's as simple as that. So picture an iceberg. Yeah, the iceberg has a tip that is above the water that is only about, I think it's 9% of the total volume of the iceberg. The rest is underneath the surface. Similarly, underneath a negative emotion, there is a lot of stuff. Expectations, hidden motives, identifications, attachments, negative beliefs, you name it. So all that material that is underneath, you may not be able to reach it in your introspection, but it doesn't matter. You just identify the tip, which is the negative emotion, and you surrender the negative emotion. When you do that, and you do it with sincerity, as I explained, what happens is that you are initiating a cascade effect that will take care of all the lower and deeper layers of the issue. It's like the divine will take care of that, will take care of what is underneath. May use you too in the process by showing you something that was hidden to awareness. And now it is seen, and then you will be encouraged to internally to surrender it again. So you start surrendering the negative emotion, and perhaps 2 days later you find yourself surrendering a belief that was underneath, right? Because you can surrender anything. You can surrender a belief, you can surrender an expectation, you can surrender a goal, you can surrender so many things. And I'm going to explain more about that later. But in this case, the surrendering technique works at surrendering the negative emotion. That's the one thing you need to be concerned about. So I hope that this clarifies why the technique works and how it works. And then in the next segment, tomorrow, I'm going to explain the templates for the surrendering technique so that you can begin to practice it. I would recommend that if you are serious about learning this technique that is extremely effective and simple to use, that you watch this video again and the previous one too, so that you will be prepared for tomorrow receive the technique itself and begin to practice it. You need to clean, I guarantee you need to clean a lot of stuff, whether you are awakened already or not. You have likely, like everybody, a lot of stuff that needs to be cleaned. So use a simple, practical, efficient technique and clean the mess once and for all.